Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. In this Dialogue Horizon episode, definitely will cover the ongoing turmoil, initiatives, and uncertainty and safety. A lot of things. We will try to cover this in this episode. As that's why I think we are honored and we are glad to host our professor, associate professor Sammani Hanoun. He is an economist and social, an active and politician. He is following the whole matter and very active in the arena these days. Dr. Sammani Hanoun, welcome. You are most welcome to this episode, which we'll try to cover as much as we can in this, what's happening, what's going on in the political arena in the country.
Thanks, Engineer Haras, for this special invitation to join this special episodes on Dialogue Horizon to cover wide range of panorama of events in Sudan during the last few weeks. I'm happy to join this very special episode.
Okay, this is actually you are very special. I read one of the wisdoms, conventional wisdom. They say, if you are not confused, you are misinformed. Now you are informed, I'm informed, everybody informed is confused. Because everybody, all who are informed, they are confused. Confused by what now Sudan is passing a very precarious juncture in which there is political upheaval and political turmoil and turbulence which is occurring. Among all of these initiatives, now at least 60 initiatives were presented in the arena. This adds to the confusion of those who are following it, because there are too many initiatives to come to a consensus on a level, a minimum level, which is till now not a single one of the initiatives received any acceptance by all. Now let us start by the controversial and the most recent initiative, which is causing a lot of controversy, the initiative of Sheikh Tayyib al-Jid of Dawan Ban. This initiative, some people, although many, they responded to this, especially the Sufi Islamic sects and some of the old regime, some of the old parties, the traditional parties. Anyhow, some people are showing some acceptance to these initiatives of Sheikh
Tayyib al-Jid.
What do you think about at the same time there is another workshop going on the advocates so just tell us about this initiative of Tayyib al-Jid. Will it receive acceptance? Can it be applied? Will it go further? Some people they don't anticipate success to the initiatives. Most of the people they are saying that it will not receive at least 50% of the people in the arena. What is your own feeling?
I think the influx of initiative during the last few months is due to the serious political congestion in Sudan, and there is abnormal supply of initiatives in Sudanese political arena. Most of the national leaders and figures were initiated the proposal to reconcile the disputes among different conflicting parties in Sudan. Most important recent initiative was launched by Sheikh Tayyib al-Jid, and this initiative is especially supported by different and receive considerable support from different groups, social groups in society, and some people they describe it as an extension to the old regime, members of the old regime. But by all means, this initiative supported by considerable numbers of Sudanese people. So I think it is important to study the initiative. It is important, simply the initiative focus on some main principles, general principles of the interest of Sudanese people. For instance, the management of the transitional period, the election, these are general principles should be tackled and addressed by all parties of concern. So the initiative of Sheikh Tayyib al-Jid, I think to some extent can be one of the options, one of the alternatives, because we are targeting to create national consensus on the political discourse especially. So we need to gather all initiatives that are supported by majority of the Sudanese people, by considerable numbers of social groups in Sudan. The initiative of Sheikh Tayyib considered one of the main initiatives among the initiatives proposed by the Sudanese leaders. So I think it is important to study the initiative and to see to what extent it will serve the national interest of the Sudanese people. And in another way, I also strongly recommend the national initiative, because I fed up from the international initiative, and you know, during the last 2 decades, we are facing continuous initiative from international community, but up to now, we failed to sustain, to realize peace or even economic prosperity for the Sudanese people. On the other hand, the poverty was increased, the standard of living of Sudanese people were worsened dramatically during this period. So the international community role is not supporting to solve the problem. So we have to rely on the national initiative. From this point of view, I strongly recommend all national initiative, whether from Sheikh Tayyib al-Jid or any other from the FCC and the Sudanese advocate. These are welcome. They can create one platform. They can create one forum in order to address the Sudanese problem. This is initiative, I think, I'm not sure whether to be succeed or not. This is depend on the futures of the initiative and who will join, especially from FFC and the advocate initiative. These are two components up to now outside the domain of the initiative, but we strongly encourage national initiative in order to settle the Sudanese dispute. This is more favorable for us.
But tell me, what's the difference? You said so many initiatives,
Yeah.
especially the University of Khartoum professors. There are about 60 initiatives.
Yeah.
Why did this one in particular receive warm welcome by special section or group of first of all, General Burhan, which is the military component, accepted it. He openly said it's good. The others, the Islamic groups, different Islamic groups, also they accepted it and they warm welcome it. The old regime politicians also they accept. So it is this why this in particular is getting this reception.
I think one reason, Sudanese people by default, they respect the religious leaders, all Sudanese peoples. And one thing, the weak proposal by Volker delayed the process for a very long time. And we talked so many times in order to accelerate the decisions on the peace reconcile in Sudan. The humble proposal of Volker and the emotional respect to the religious leaders in Sudan resulted in this position, because most parties concerned in Sudan, they welcomed the proposals set or launched by Sheikh Tayyib al-Jid. So I think if the international community keen enough to solve the Sudanese problem, they have to accelerate the process of peace in Sudan. They suffer. And also we learned the lesson from Southern Sudan. What did by the international community to reconcile in Sudan? They're nothing. So people, they are not 100% confident about this role of international
Let me
community.
correct one information. You mentioned something. Volker did not, till this moment, did not present any initiative. From the beginning, when he started,
Facilitator.
yes, he said, I don't have anything to present. I don't have an initiative. our job is to facilitate the sitting of people together to come to a consensus. But as you know, people are divided in two big blocks.
How
So,
you so you answer the questions creating two tracks under Fokker period? The UN, the trilateral track mechanism by UN and African Union and the IGAD, and another track by the US and Saudi Arabia. Volker should manage the process, should make unitrack, only one track for peace. Multi-track create a lot of contradictions. And that also will harm the peace process in the country. That means he ramifying the tracks, and finally he will end with zero as a result. He must manage the process. He must be keen address in order. Now we are studying the problem for more than 1 year back. He have to set to make his own proposal to solve the problem, because he studied the different views, the different opinions. Now he is keen enough to make his own proposal to solve the problem. Why is delaying? Only facilitator. 1 year, a complete year, just to facilitate meeting of the two conflicting parties.
yes, but
This
you
is
are
not
right.
a role.
But we have to be fair. We have to be fair with the man. We have to be fair. Once the tripartite, the three, and Volcker himself, the presence of Volcker, although it is under a decree by the Security Council, United Nations, and Sudan is a member of United, at the onset of the arrival of Volcker, some people they took side against him. Even on Friday, on Wednesday, the slogans of those who attacked the advocates, it was they're calling Volcker out, Volcker out, Volcker out. So Volcker, from the very beginning, he did not receive welcome from group, which is now the group of Sheikh Al-Tayyib al-Jid, which is the same. We have to be frank. This is the group. They rejected. That is why maybe Volcker attended, and the Troika and the ambassador of some Arab ambassador, they attended the workshop of the advocates, and they did not go to the friendship hall to the Sheikh Al-Tayyib al-Jid. Now we have a problem. We have a real problem. How can we resume? This is my second question. How can we resume the activities of the tripartite, the United Nations, Volcker, and IGAD, and the African Union with Labat? It seems that the three parties, the three members, it seems that to me, they are not in harmony. There are some differences between them.
In fact, we are talking about two different things. Volcker is a facilitator. He's not initiator. Initiator conceptually different from facilitator.
Yes,
So I think we have two different tracks. Sheikh Al-Tayyib al-Jid is initiative to solve the problem. And I think the step of Sheikh Al-Tayyib is further than Volcker. Volcker is still moving around this vicious circle just to meet the conflicting party. But Sheikh Al-Jid put some principles to manage the transitional period, the independent or the leaders or national leaders to lead the government, the election. I think this is more practical, and I think people now are waiting for such solution, not for to facilitate just meeting among the people. What to do? What's the final result by meeting people in order to do what? On the other hand, the Volcker failed several times, even in the dialogue. He failed to link all the two conflicts, whether the FFC and these components of the FFC, the national charter. There are different components who are opposing each other. He was failed to reconcile or to help any meeting for these parties in Sudan. So Volcker did nothing, I think, up to now. His final result is big zero. So why we need practical action in order to reconcile. People respond about 1 year without government. So we need a government in our country. We need to foster the economic tightness so in Sudan in order to relax the inflations and the very deteriorated life in Sudan. People are suffering. People suffering from the lack of the basic needs in the economy.
So who
And
is-
still
who
he's
is-
talking about to
who-
facilitate meeting.
Who is
Meeting
delaying,
with whom?
who is delaying the formation of the government? Why 10 months? Why not after the 25th of October? Why? General Burhan said he will form so many things. On top of which is the government. Why? Why till now? Now 10 months. Why?
Yeah, definitely there is political disputes here in Sudan, and people is still not agreed upon one principle how to manage the transitional period. Yes, it is true. But I think we need to put more pressure by the international community in order to set up the government, because people now suffering to access even the basic needs and even the security
But
position.
who is responsible? My question is still,
Yes.
who is responsible of not forming the government? Who is responsible?
I think this
Why
is
the government?
it is delayed.
A condition of now it is clear to you and
Yeah.
to me and to everybody
Yeah.
that a condition of a consensus between now we have two distinct groups.
Yes.
It's extremely difficult. No
It
way.
is impossible. I am
So-
talking, yes. But we can just rely on majority of the people. We have to take the decision to see whether the majority, Volker, he must study, see to the majority of the people, they are supporting the government, to support the government or not. But now he is impartial. This is what I am talking. If you want to facilitate, he should also consider the other party.
Just forget Volker.
Yes,
Volker now is not responsible. He's not the governor in Sudan.
Yeah.
He can, nobody is paying nothing to him.
Yes.
Why those who made the change on the 25th of October are still, after 10 months still, they did not form the government?
Yeah, let us go back
Forget
again.
about Volker.
Yes, I forget about Volker. From the October 25 and upward, we said that this is not full coup d'etat. We describe it conceptually. This is revolt of the leader of the armies against the transitional period. It is not a full coup d'etat. In full coup d'etat, the new or the military government will set up full government. But as mentioned by Al-Burhan during the main declaration, that they are just taking corrective step to the transitional period. And they are working alongside the same constitutional documents.
Okay.
So this is why he failed to set up a government, because according to the constitutional document, there is other components should set the government, not Al-Burhan. This is because it is a corrective change, not a full military coup. And if you make it conceptual definition for military coup, you will find the position in Sudan different, not like the previous, like Nimeri and Aboud and other military coup in Sudan. So this is corrective step faced challenge by the other parties, that the other components of the December revolution failed to share how to set up the government. Now, what is very important, the declaration of the Sudanese armed forces to withdraw from the political arena, to give chance to the civilian in order to take the decision about. Even the civilians themselves, they were failed up to now to set up their own government. These people, so it is difficult to agree upon even the national principle.
Okay, but Professor, in my mind, the corrective, when
Yes.
you say corrective action, yes, it's corrective, which the FFC, because the FFC, the incubator, royal incubator, are not in harmony and not coherent.
Yeah.
He felt that so why not give the chance to another group?
This is very important.
For a transitional period,
Yes.
and let the others work.
Yeah. Where is
For election.
the professional associations who led the December revolution? Professional associations should lead the initiative.
It's divided.
Now divided, even
divided.
they even totally disappeared. They have to lead the initiative in order to take the transitional period to the end, to realize the basic principles of December revolution. Again, I call the professional association to lead the initiative. These people are most concerned about December revolution. They have to make proposal. They have to insist in order to complete the transitional period. They are not FFC. FCC is a coalition of political parties, and you know to what extent now they are facing practical challenge to exist in the political arena. So the professional associations, again, the one who led the December revolution, are strongly encouraged to lead the initiative in order to complete and to reconcile the dispute among Sudanese people. We have to create arena for all Sudanese people in order to complete the transitional period of Sudan. And I think for Volker, he should support the trend that make national consensus for all Sudanese people, not to support one party against other. That will not realize stability in country.
So
If we are targeting to create sustainable democratic system in Sudan and to maintain stability in country, we have to consider all Sudanese people, except the criminal. They have to go to the court. But other people are welcome, and they have to make platform for all Sudanese people. This is if it's real facilitator.
So you believe that the role, Volker and the tripartite
Yes.
mechanism,
Yes.
you feel that their role becoming extremely difficult.
Yeah.
They cannot. Now people are divided between two.
Two groups.
So it's extremely difficult. So what you think the future of this initiative or this brokering of this tripartite, the three, it came to an end?
I think the only way we need to go to election under this political and serious conditions.
How?
No single, we have to arrange. The United Nations, they have to make a new assignment for election in Sudan.
But
they have to make roadmap.
in between there should be some interim period.
Yeah, interim period, yes, absolutely. This is to be even by the military, or like, I am always talking about Suar al-Dahab model. Suar al-Dahab model is a success model.
Yes.
So why we don't take it as reference? Let us take the Suar al-Dahab model in Sudan, and most of Sudanese, they experience
Now
this model.
also General Burhan, also he proposed similar. His proposal has a similar to Suar al-Dahab. He proposing that to form high military council of the parties. Maybe he will only be in the palace, the others will be in their places, similar to Suar al-Dahab. He's proposing this, but he's waiting for the civilians to form or help him forming the government. Now the civilians, it's extremely difficult to come.
Failed.
They failed. With Volker, without Volker, they failed. And now, don't you feel that there should be some drastic major steps?
More potential risk about this position. So the only way, we have to arrange for election. No, we cannot, if you wait for 1 year more, we cannot solve the problem. The only way in the history of political science, we have to go to the voting.
Yes, and not only this, Professor, you are right.
Yes.
Now the absence of government in the country, it started alarming others who are not politicians, ordinary people.
Yeah.
They are started to worry about their living. How can they make ends meet?
Definitely.
Not politicians. They are not definitely the majority of the people. The politicians are only 10% maybe of any population.
Yeah.
Others, they just want to live, eat, and send their children to schools and hospitals. They want services.
Security, yes, for them.
Now, some resentment started to grow between the non-politicians, the ordinary people.
Yeah.
That is why it is time to form a government. It's high time.
Definitely. Any further delay will lead ordinary people who were not involved in political discourse to be active players in change. And under that position, nobody can predict where the direction.
And it will be very, very, very serious. It will be very serious. If it goes to such chaos.
Yeah, it takes different directions, because it takes some directional
hunger
and ethical, and you don't have any national slogan or national principles. So that is we are worried about such positions. It is important to form the government in order to provide service to the citizens in the state, and also to serve the interests of people, and let's say we reach the election and the voting. So we have to arrange for voting. Early voting, I think, the only options before Sudanese people. Any dispute will be meaningless, and even facilitation will be meaningless unless we arrange for early election, because there is root causes, conflicts and disputes among these social groups in Sudan. And Sudan is passing with the transitional periods of social change. Social change in the way people think about the national unity. People, they have new way of thinking. So we have to consider all this social awareness and the development in the society after the December Revolution. Unless we take a practical decision to go to the election, we wouldn't be able to solve the problem. This is the
So it is good, something very good now. Both initiatives, the initiatives are calling now to start. Even the FFC initiative is calling for a transitional period of short,
Yeah.
18 to 24 months, and I think it is 18 months. Anyhow, both groups are calling for elections, early elections, as early as 18 months.
Yeah.
The 18 months is quite reasonable because preparations have to be. But this takes me directly to another question, which is very important. Now, let us assume that somebody took the decision, or the military took the decision to form a government,
Yeah.
hopefully impartial government, non-partisan prime minister, non-partisan members of the council, so that they should run the country the ordinary work of the government. Look after the people, prices, economy, this is the duty of any government.
Yeah.
For at the same time, they are to prepare for election, election of in between 18 months, which must be preceded by a census.
Yeah, definitely.
Population, you have to know the population
Yeah,
so that you can distribute the constituencies equitably in the country according to the density of the population. In each. This takes me directly to another very important question, which we discuss it sometime.
Yes.
About
Political system.
the system.
Yeah.
People still are looking for the parliamentary system, which it is a failed system. It's failed by facts.
Yeah.
In independence, 1956, which is almost now 65 years, 65 or 66 years. In 66 years, only 12 or 14 years democratic governance, unstable.
Yes.
The rest, military dictatorship by 3 coups.
Yeah.
The coup of Abu General Aboud, 1958, Nimeri, 1969, and al-Bashir, 1989. So why people? I want to know your comment on a proposal which I have in mind. Why not opt for presidential system? At least if you opt for presidential system, people agree on presidential system. The election of a president does not require census.
Yeah, this is a
Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, presidential system is a smart political solution for political congestion in Sudan. And as you wrote your very powerful article in Brown Land that mentioned importance of a presidential system, again we emphasize the imperative need for presidential system in Sudan as a total solution for political crisis since independence and up to date. Sudanese people experience range of political system. The liberal democratic system and the military totalitarian system. Both of them were failed, but we are talking about civil presidential system, not military.
Democratic.
Yeah, democratic system.
Controlled by constitution.
Yeah. Under this position, we can set the election immediately during 6 months for president.
Sure, yes.
So if you are keen enough, you want to solve the problem, you have to take this track. We have to elect the president in order to stop all this dialogue. Once we elect the president, let us take Dr. Hamdouk and other people with popular support, people that are talking about popular support, let us go to the voting and elect the president in order all to stop talking. The president will lead the country. If the UN and Volker and other initiators are keen, they want to solve the problem, let us go to the presidential system. Direct to the presidential system, and let us elect the president for first time. In this case, we solve the historical problem in Sudan of the failure of the political system. You understand that the political parties act as broker between the citizen and the government. And this experience shows for a couple of times this unfavorable or cannot realize the political development in our country. Totally failed. So we have to think outside the box. And let us go to the presidential. The most important today, we want to transfer power from political parties to the citizen. Citizen can elect the key person in the state, the president, the governor, the head of the parliament, the Congress. And most of the key persons and leaders in the country will be elected by the citizen directly. So we transfer power to the people, the citizen, not to the political party.
Yes, yes.
So that will make float to the political.
That's very smart. That's very good. Not only this,
Yeah.
Professor, let me add an important factor also. Among the diversity of the numerous parties, political parties,
Bulk of
it is,
political.
when you go for presidential system,
Yeah.
people will go
Yes,
into blocks.
grouping.
Yes.
Yeah.
They will be forced. They
Yeah.
will be forced to go into groupings.
Yeah.
Let us say left and right.
Yeah,
no
definitely.
problem.
Only maximum 3 groups.
Maximum three.
Left, right, and the middle.
Middle.
So people,
One of them will be the president.
yeah, from one of the group will be the
With
president.
limited war with controlled
Yeah,
presidency.
Yes.
By the constitution.
Yeah.
He cannot go for dictatorship.
Definitely.
He's also answerable and he's accountable to any failure.
Yeah.
This can be set in the constitution.
Yeah.
But
So our judgment, we strongly recommend Sudan should move to the presidential system without delay. If they want to make total solution for the problem. Even you don't like statistic or consensus.
Yes.
You can go directly to the election.
directly with no census.
No census.
Because
But
people they elect the president.
elect this president with transitional period with a mandate in order to make constitutional frame of, and we start with the constitutional conference under this position.
Yes.
The president should call for constitution and we can solve the problem. This is the more straightforward to solve the problem.
You have to think out of the box. You are right. You are
Yeah.
right. This is very important.
Yeah.
People should entertain the idea.
Yes.
Why are you repeating the same mistake
Yeah,
and
they want
expecting different results?
result, yeah.
It is a vicious circle.
Yeah.
We will go back, even if elected 2-3 years.
Yes.
Democracy, liberal democracy.
Yes.
A coup after 2-3 means this is what is happening, and
Yeah.
we call it in engineering the trend.
Yes.
If you want to study a curve, you see the trend in the curve.
Yeah.
How the
And what
trend-
happened yesterday
Yeah,
can
the
be
trend
repeated
in the
tomorrow.
curve is like this, our curve,
Yeah.
because of the parliamentary system.
Yes.
Long military system,
Yes.
short
Yes.
civilian government,
Coup, military coup.
So it will repeat the same cycle.
Yes.
So as Einstein
Yeah.
said, why are we repeating? This-
You want to expect different
he
results.
said insanity.
Yes.
Insanity is repeating the same mistakes
Yes.
and expecting different results.
Never. طبعا.
This is Einstein.
Yes. So if we want to expect a different result, we need to change.
You need to change,
Yeah,
definitely,
change,
definitely.
accept, yeah.
So you are for the presidential system. because
Yeah,
it is-
strongly we recommend the presidential
and
system
even
in the
in money
political arena.
preparation, you know the last election, the cost of elections, not less than $200 million.
Yeah, definitely. That will save also. You can
It will save
track
because
it to
directly
development.
you can directly
So
go
this
to.
is a smart solution for smart political solution for problem.
But people are not trying, are not thinking out of the box.
That is will
Unfortunately,
that will contradict the interest of many social group, historical group like political parties,
Yes,
other
yes,
stakeholders will suffer from this new system of definitely. They will
Very-
oppose it.
This is very sad, very sad. People, they know that this is a failed system.
Yeah,
Parliamentary system is a
it's
failed.
a failed system. Even they repeat it, will
Confirmed
get
3
the same
times.
result. What gets the same result? Because in history of the analysis, what happened yesterday can be repeated tomorrow.
Yes,
So as you failed in the history, you are expected to fail in the future.
future.
So the parliament system would definitely
Will lead to another
military coup.
Military coup.
Yes,
Or
if they
after a
want
very
to-
short period.
Yes, after a very short period of time. So the only way you have to quit and to think out of the vicious circle, out of the box. The only way we have to take the track. So why we always recommend the presidential system. By the way, there is common features between the Sudanese people and the Americans, for example. This is diverse society.
Diverse.
Yeah, with different culture, with different backgrounds, and peoples of different. So the presidential system can lead to very powerful president in order to serve the unity of the country and also the interest of the diverse cultures in the country. Sudan needs a powerful presidential system with charisma that in order to enforce the law and also to establish the institution. Now we want to move from the state of individuals to the state of institution, to build an institution in our country. This is actually big challenge and needs very decisive and very powerful president who can lead the initiative in the political arena, in economics, in social life, in the different aspects of life in Sudan, which experienced dramatic failure.
So I agree with you. You are calling for the people should think out of the box and think of replacing the failed parliamentary system by
presidential
democratic system. When you talk about presidential people, they think of Aboud, Mary, and al-Bashir. No, this is not democratic. Not the three are not democratic presidential system. We are talking about democratic presidential system coming from transparent, fair general elections. Okay, let us move to another issue, which is right exactly in your other domain, not the political, the economic.
Economics.
Let us go to the skyrocketing prices. Among these skyrocketing prices, the government or somebody decided to raise the customs rate of the dollar by about 25%, which is more. It's causing a lot of harm to many industry, and people started, and especially the industry people and the businessmen, they are started to worry about the future of their businesses. Some people, they said, and the Minister of Finance, they said, we did not take any decision to raise the dollar evaluation. From the beginning, we don't have two rates. We have only one rate. And which is the official rate of Bank of Sudan. But now it is applied a few days ago, and prices started to go up, and the revenue of the custom might fall down. My question is, who, Minister of Finance, they said we did not take any decision. Who was stopping the growth of the value of the dollar for about 7, 6, 9 months ago? It did not come to this value 572 all of a sudden. It came through increments. Why the custom did not cope with any increase, even at daily basis? Because the Ministry of Finance said we did not take any decision. Who stopped the dollar evaluation?
Let us start with a very famous quotation that economists do it with model, and they have rational expectation for future. But actually what is happening in Sudan, we don't see the practice of economics in our daily life. That means even now, the Minister of Finance, they said that they are not fully aware with the parties who increase the official rate, not the custom rate. This is totally remove the custom rate, but we have the official rate set by the auction of the central bank, and this is official. What happened? There is dramatic increase by 26%. I think the government today face some challenges in providing liquidity and money supply, because the central bank stopped printing money without coverage. So they tend to increase taxes in the other ways, and that will increase inflation in the economy, and finally will deteriorate the standard of Sudanese people, like what's happening today. Sudanese people facing very destitute standard of living, people living in a very, very, very deteriorated level of living because of package of reasons. One of the reasons, the failure of fiscal and monetary policies to address poverty in Sudan. And poverty is magnified, especially by increasing prices in market and increasing inflation. Increasing inflation definitely has negative impacts on the national currency. The Sudanese pound started to devalue because of increasing the prices and inflation in the economy. There is inverse relationship between the value of national currency and the inflation rate. Inflation rate higher, that means the national currency will go down. So now, as a result of increasing inflation due to the increasing of the official rates in the auction rate that's set by central bank, the Sudanese people tend to devalue again. And the tightness in the economy will increase among Sudanese people. So I think this is not the rational decision, but the government facing practical challenge. In order to pay abnormal salaries, increased during the last few months. This is totally, we refuse to increase salary. We have to address the value of national currency instead of increasing taxes. They don't learn the lesson, by the way. We talk several times, you have to stop increasing salary in the economy. For any reason, you have to stop increasing salary. This will not solve the economic problem. You know, you increase salary, inflation will increase, again you need to increase salary. This is an endless vicious circle. So the only way, you need to address the value of the national currency through building reserves of gold in central bank, through controlling money supply by central bank, not to print money by government, through stop financing from private sector, lending from private sector. You have different tools, and most important, you stop the tools of monetary policy in the economy.
Yes.
Because still now you don't have the tool, whether OMO or reserve or the discount rate. These are three principal tools sorry, used by macroeconomists in order to manage the national economy. So we fail. That is now why people, they are facing, again they will face more increase in future unless you take a smart decision like moving to the presidential system. You should move to new block, with the new paradigm, with the new way of thinking, especially in economics. And economics is the science of alternative.
Yes.
Many millions of alternatives before Sudanese people in order to recover the deteriorated position in national economy.
Okay. Okay, thank you. This is very, very, very clear. Now we go to another question which is also important and people may be concerned to know exactly about. Last week, a very important conference was convened in Sudan about the African intelligence services. They call it CISA. This held in Sudan, and it's held among maybe I don't know. Is it by rotation or why? This is your answer. By rotation or the selected Sudan, because Sudan is vulnerable to terrorist groups like we have ISIS, like Boko Haram, like the youth, Islamic youth in Somalia, like all of these groups around Sudan. So what is your feeling or what is your comment on the convening of such a conference for intelligence people to combat terrorism in the region? What is, can you tell us about this?
Yeah, anyone who closes his eyes to the past is blind to the present. Sudan has very long history with these groups. Needless to talk about the history, but just let's talk about the status quo today. Why CISA selected Sudan for this security, highly secure security council? I think for package of reason, they are worried about very fragile political or security position in Sudan.
Sudan, yes.
The media, the different report shows that Sudan in very fragile position.
Yes.
Tribal conflict in different part of country. The armed robbery spread across the country. The different region, they are conflicting and clashes with the center. So peoples of Africa are worried about security in Sudan.
Yes.
And to know to what extent stability of Sudan is a must and mandatory for the wide range of neighbors in Sudan. So for that reason, I think, and you know the strong links or social ties between Sudan and especially this group, whether Boko Haram or Daesh or any other group. So the CISA especially focus on Sudan. Sudan by all means has connections with different of this, and the history of Sudan shows this fact.
Yes.
So they want to take the precautionary decisions about the futures. As this country is passing through very tight and critical position, they have to be careful about the positions of security. So these groups, and especially these social groups, are one of the threats of the security in the region and Africa. And I think they have informations about the continuous reporting about this group in Jabra, in different parts they are reporting. There are still, some groups are active. So they are worried about the operations of these groups, and they know the history of Sudan also with this special group. So Sudan tried to take some precautionary decisions about the potential events in the futures that happens. Now the international community, this is why we're condemning the international community and delaying of international community.
Okay.
Will drag the Sudan into very dark future.
Very dark. Okay. This connected, my last question is connected to this conference, which is a very important conference held at the right time in the right country in Sudan about this African intelligence services holding a meeting here in Sudan. At the same time, the Ministry of Interior of Sudan, they estimated about at least 8 million
Migrants.
8 million immigrants are illegally in Sudan. And this is what they could count. This could be more. So this also might raise the question of just a modification in the expatriates bureau to have a commission for all types, for immigration, out and in, not to restrict these immigrants of immigration of Sudan going outside, expatriates. Also, it is high time to make a commission, well-equipped commission to control both and to look after both refugees and expatriates in the country. What can you tell us about this proposal?
I think one of the most challenging facing Sudan and one of the threats of the security in country, the illegal immigrants who enter Sudan because of the long borders of country and instability in some neighboring countries. And at the same time, the international community stopped the humanitarian aid to the Sudan. That complicates the matter. So unless they support the Sudans in order to set a commission and to support these vulnerable groups of immigrants who come from a different part, whether from Ethiopia, from Eritrea, from Chad, from different parts to the country, this is a land of immigrants. They came from millions of immigrants in Sudan. They represent threat because under this very tight economic condition and stop under the conditions of stopping foreign humanitarian aid to the Sudan, according to the sanctions by the international community, that would result in fabulous result actually. And that will make some damaging consequences on the whole state and country. So unless the international community take practical actions toward these matters, they will face a very critical position that cannot be controlled by anyone in the world. So unless they support Sudan through humanitarian aid, and also they have to support this country in order to meet the increasing demand for basic service for immigrants in the borders, whether in the east borders, in the west, in south, in different parts of country surrounded by immigrants. So the international community should not stop financing the humanitarian aid by all means.
But why people, these immigrants, why are they coming? Sudan is not attractive, at least these days. Sudan is not attractive. Prices are very high, commodities are scarce, services very poor. Why still people coming to Sudan?
Coming, some people just to save their lives. Because
maybe they live in worse conditions.
In worse conditions, and there are some pushing factors, and they enforce to come Sudan under all conditions, at least to survive, at least to save their lives. So they move to Sudan with their families, with the very tight family conditions. So I think the international community should support and play a greater role, and also support even the Hague and the Refugees Committee in Sudan in order to support these people now available in the border of Central Africa, in border with Chad, in Ethiopia, in Eritrea. Land, that country surrounded by influx of immigrants due to different reasons. So the international community should assume greater role in order to support this vulnerable group available or existing in the borders of Sudan. Otherwise, we will face very tragic security position in country due to the famine, due to the lack of food, due to the lack of security in these remote areas and peripheries in Sudan.
Now it's happening.
Yeah, actually,
it's happening outside in the west, in the east. the East, the Shifta, this group, militia group, and in the West, and now even in the capital, in the big cities,
Yeah.
the presence of the refugees,
Yeah.
uncontrolled refugees, is causing a lot of alarming effect on the people.
Yeah, as you know, the Ministry of Interior with limited abilities, with limited resources, cannot control this very huge borders. The Ministry of Interior should be supported by international community in order to solve these people and to serve people in the remote and peripheries of country. The Ministry of the Interior cannot cover all this, and even the crimes will increase also.
But also, but something very good. We have to commend. I have to commend
Yeah.
the efforts done by the Wali of Khartoum,
Yeah.
Hamza Ahmed Hamza.
Ahmed Hamza.
He is doing a good job, by the way.
Yes.
He's trying all in different directions. But the most recent thing which I appreciate, I commend, is that he is worried about the refugees, the foreigners, illegal immigrants in Khartoum.
Yeah.
He asked, he's going to conduct some kind of statistics
Yes.
to exactly
Yeah.
know how many, who are they, and this we have to commend this.
Yeah.
And we encourage.
Yeah, I think under this highly insecure position in Sudan, we need to make a register for all migrants to Sudan. And you know, the CESA now, they held meeting about these groups with the damaging consequence on the whole world, on Sudan, very high risk. So we need to take precaution action by the Wali Hamza. He took the right decisions in order to make register for all migrants, and especially in Sudan, and even the Sudanese people. They have to involve in security matter in order to protect the country.
Okay, thank you, dear Professor Samani Hanoun. It was a very, very active episode. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us in the last 1 hour. We hope to see you next week in a different episode in different issues. Thank you and bye.